Discover how to transform your inner void into fulfillment and freedom. Awakening the void within. We begin by asking a question: have you ever felt that deep, unshakable void inside? The one that lingers, even when everything around you seems perfect. That void is not an enemy. It's not something to escape. It's a whisper from the universe, urging you to explore a truth you've been avoiding. Who are you beyond the noise, the possessions, and the roles you play? Imagine standing in front of a vast, infinite ocean. Its surface calm yet concealing depths unknown. That ocean is your soul. And the void? It's the stillness inviting you to dive in. But why do so many of us resist? Because the void is terrifying. It's uncharted. It's where everything you think you are dissolves. As we take this journey together, I want you to do something radical. Instead of avoiding the void, embrace it. Close your eyes, even now, and breathe deeply. Feel the space between breaths. That space is the void. Can you hear it? It's not empty. It's alive, pulsing with potential, waiting for you to listen. But let's be honest. Transformation is uncomfortable. Most of us fill our voids with distractions, work, relationships, scrolling endlessly on our phones. It's easier to numb than to face the ache of existence. Why do we do this? Why are we so afraid of nothingness? Here's a truth: the void is not nothing. It's the birthplace of everything. Think of the seed buried in the earth, unseen yet teeming with life. It's in the dark that transformation begins. Your void is the same. It's the fertile ground for fulfillment and freedom. But only if you're brave enough to plant yourself there. Ask yourself this: what am I running from? What am I afraid to confront in my silence? The answers may surprise you. Often, it's not the world that scares us, it's ourselves. We fear the mirror the void holds up because it reflects both our beauty and our wounds. You see, fulfillment doesn't come from chasing something external. It arises when you stop running and sit with what is. Try it. Sit in a quiet space for 5 minutes every day. No phone. No distractions. Just you and the void. Notice what surfaces. Is it anxiety? Restlessness? Let it all come up. These feelings are not your enemies, they're your guides. As you sit, remind yourself, I am enough as I am. Say it even if you don't believe it yet. Words have power. And these words can start to fill the void. Not with noise, but with truth. And then, there's the freedom. Have you ever wondered what freedom really is? Is it the absence of responsibility? The ability to do whatever you want? No. Real freedom is being so anchored in yourself that nothing external can shake you. When you transform your inner void, you discover this freedom. Here's a deep question to ponder: if everything you hold dear were stripped away, who would you be? Not your job. Not your relationships. Not your possessions, just you. Let me share a story. There was a man who spent his entire life building an empire. Wealth, power, admiration, he had it all. Yet, one night, sitting alone in his vast mansion, he broke down. He felt the void more deeply than ever. What he realized in that moment was profound: everything he had built was a distraction from the one thing he truly needed, to know himself. The journey to fulfillment begins not when you add more to your life, but when you strip it down to its essence. What remains when you let go? That is your true self. And that self is whole. even in the void. As we conclude this part of the journey, reflect on this: the void is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Are you willing to learn from it? The alchemy of the void, turning darkness into light. If the void is the fertile ground of your transformation, then this is where the alchemy begins. Darkness, when embraced, becomes light. But first, let me ask you this: what does your darkness look like? Is it fear? Guilt? Regret? We all carry something heavy within us. And often, we try to lock it away, pretending it isn't there. But the truth is, the more we resist, the heavier it becomes. Imagine your void as a vast cave. You stand at the entrance, hesitant to step inside. Why? Because it's dark. And we've been conditioned to fear the dark. But what if I told you the treasures you seek are hidden deep within that cave? What if the light you're searching for can only be found by stepping into the shadow? Alchemy is the process of transformation, of turning lead into gold. But the alchemy of the soul begins with acceptance. Look at the darkness within you, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Why is it there? What story does it tell? Here's a practice for you: write down the things you fear most about yourself. The things you don't talk about, even to your closest friends. Be brutally honest. Then, look at that list and ask yourself, what if these things are not flaws, but invitations to grow? You see, the void is a paradox. It feels like emptiness, but it's full of possibility. It feels like darkness, but it holds the seed of light. To transform it, you must engage with it, not by trying to fix it, but by listening to it. Let me share another story. There was a woman who carried deep shame about her past. For years, she avoided it, filling her life with accomplishments to distract herself. But no matter how much she achieved, the shame lingered. One day, she sat down with her journal and wrote a letter to her shame. She asked it what it wanted from her. And in the silence that followed, she realized her shame didn't want to punish her. It wanted her to forgive herself. What if the same is true for you? What if your fears, your regrets, your pain, they're not there to destroy you, but to guide you back to yourself? This is the alchemy: when you stop running from your darkness, you begin to see its purpose. It's not there to trap you. It's there to teach you. Every scar, every wound, every shadow, they're all part of your story. And your story is beautiful, not in spite of its darkness, but because of it. Take a moment now and think about the darkest time in your life. How did it change you? Did it make you more compassionate, more resilient, more aware? If you look closely, you'll see that your struggles didn't break you. They shaped you. They turned your lead into gold. There's a saying, the wound is where the light enters you. What does this mean? It means that the places where you feel most broken are often the places where your greatest growth can occur. But only if you're willing to face them. Ask yourself this: what am I afraid to confront within myself? And why? As you sit with these questions, remember this: transformation is not about erasing your pain. It's about integrating it. It's about seeing the beauty in your imperfections and understanding that they don't make you unworthy, they make you human. Let's go deeper. Close your eyes again and imagine yourself standing in that cave. You're holding a torch. And as you take each step into the darkness, the light from your torch grows brighter. With each step, You see more clearly. The shadows are no longer frightening, they're just shadows. And as you reach the heart of the cave, you find something extraordinary, a mirror. What do you see in that mirror? Not the version of you that the world sees, but the true you. The one who is whole, even in their brokenness. The one who is light, even in their darkness. This is where freedom begins. Not in denying the void, but in transforming it. Not in running from your darkness, but in reclaiming it. And so, I leave you with this thought: your void is not a curse. It's a gift. Are you ready to unwrap it? The path to freedom, embracing your infinite self. What does it mean to truly be free? Is it the absence of pain? The ability to do as you please? Or is freedom something deeper? Something more profound, a state of being that transcends the limits of the mind, the body, and the roles you play? Imagine for a moment that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not even your body. You are the awareness behind all of these, the infinite self. Untouched by time, unbroken by circumstance. Freedom begins when you recognize this truth. But how do you get there? How do you bridge the gap between the void and the infinite? We've explored the void and learned to embrace it. We've uncovered the light hidden within the darkness. Now, it's time to step into that light fully. This is the path to freedom, not as a destination, but as a way of being. Take a moment and reflect. What would your life look like if you were free from fear? Free from the need for validation? Free from the constant striving for more? Freedom doesn't come from having everything you want. It comes from realizing you already have everything you need. The void, once transformed, reveals this truth. It shows you that fulfillment isn't something you find out there. It's something you uncover within. Let's make this practical. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. With each inhale, imagine yourself drawing in light, pure, radiant light. With each exhale, let go of anything that feels heavy, doubt, fear, regret. As you do this, feel yourself becoming lighter, freer. This simple practice is a reminder: you are not your burdens. You are the space in which they exist. And that space is infinite. But here's where it gets interesting. Freedom doesn't mean detachment from the world. It doesn't mean retreating to a cave or living a life of solitude. True freedom is the ability to engage fully with life, knowing you are not bound by it. It's dancing in the rain without fearing the storm. So, how do we embody this freedom in our everyday lives? First, let's talk about presence. How often do you find yourself lost in thought, replaying the past or worrying about the future? Presence is the key to freedom. When you are fully here, in this moment, the chains of time fall away. Try this the next time you feel overwhelmed. Pause. Look around. Notice the colors, the sounds, the sensations. Anchor yourself in the now. Second, let's consider connection. We often feel trapped because we see ourselves as separate from others, from nature, even from the universe. But this is an illusion. The truth is, you are connected to everything. When you help another, you help yourself. When you harm another, you harm yourself. Freedom grows when you see this interconnectedness and live in harmony with it. Ask yourself this: who am I beyond my name, my job, my identity? And who are you in relation to the world around you? Let me share one last story. There was a man who sought freedom his entire life. He traveled to distant lands, learned from wise teachers, and meditated for hours each day. But no matter what he did, he couldn't escape the feeling of being trapped. One day, he sat by a river and watched the water flow. And in that moment, it hit him, the river didn't try to control its path. It simply flowed, trusting the journey. What if you could live like the river? What if you could trust your journey, even when it twists and turns? This is the essence of freedom, surrender. Not as weakness, but as strength. It's the courage to let go of control and trust that life is carrying you exactly where you need to be. As we conclude this journey together, remember this: freedom is not something you achieve. It's something you are. It's your natural state, beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning. And it's always within reach. So, I leave you with one final question: are you ready to stop searching and start being? Your void has become your teacher. Your darkness has become your light. And now, you stand at the threshold of your infinite self. Step through, and discover the freedom that has been within you all along.